How's it going, guys? Thanks for tuning into the channel. Today I want to go over a few tips that can really help you bring out the best of your Alesis Strike hi-hat samples. We're going to cover everything from improving dynamics to playability to even adjusting your controller to respond to the way that you open and close the hi-hat to give you that nice sloshy sound at the points that you're used to. You know, a lot of people just say that it moves too quick and to open and close. So there's definitely a lot that you can adjust. And in my opinion, I think you guys are going to be able to find, quite a few more hi-hat samples that you can bring into, your arsenal to make custom kits with that you might have otherwise thought were unusable. You can really change a lot here. So that being said, let's get started. Okay, so when you first go into the module, say you're looking for some hi-hats, you're just trying to see, what's in the module. You might be flipping through some preset kits, trying out some hi-hats, and you might find one that you're like, you start hitting it and you're like, oh, this could be cool. This might be what I'm looking for. And then you start hitting it again and you're hitting the edge and then you're hitting the bow and then you're hitting the edge and then you're hitting the bow and then the edge and the bow. And you're like, what's going on? This is freaking weird. It's like it's muting itself. Well, that's exactly what's happening. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, let me just show you really quick so you can hear for yourself. Alright, so as awkward as it sounds, I can guarantee you it's just as awkward to play. So if this is happening to you guys, all you need to do is go into the voice menu, and then you'll see where it says FX/MIDI. You're going to go in there, and then click where it says Other. And from this menu, you see where it says Mute Group. That's probably going to be at 01 if this is happening. And you want to just go through and turn the wheel to where it says off, and you want to do that for both of your zones, the bow and the edge, to where both of those say off, and it should sound like this at the end. Alright, so that is so much better already. It's not drawing my ear. It feels more natural. Obviously the hi-hat isn't muting itself, so that's great, right? The next thing is a choppiness, and it's hard to explain this, but some of the hi-hats, like when they're closed and you're trying to do articulate stuff on the bow of the hi-hat, you might notice it sounds choppy, like, not dynamic. Like even when you're doing light rolls, it sounds like you're hitting it really hard, just fast. But before we go in and fix anything, I just want to show you really quick how this sounds, this choppy sound that I'm talking about. Now we're going to go into the menu and we're going to start changing some stuff. You want to go back into the voice menu and then click where it says velocity. Now in here, layer 1 is usually going to be what your main sample is. You'll see where it says velocity level. A lot of times in the stock presets, like when you pull up the sample, it's going to be somewhere around 80. And what's happening with this velocity is it's kind of like compression, but it basically brings up the lower sounding soft sample hits and makes them louder. So at 99, it would be the most dynamic. It would play the soft sounding samples audibly quieter. And if you crank that all the way to like 10 or something, when you play soft, it'd be just as loud as if you're hitting it really hard. You're not cutting off the layers. It's still playing the soft layers. It's just playing them louder. So that's what's like giving it this choppy sound. So what you want to do is change that all the way to 99. And you want to do that on the edge as well, which will also help like when you're doing fast hits to kind of minimize that machine gun sound, which we all hate, I think. So let's just hear how that sounds compared to how it was before. Alright, so that is just so much better, not choppy, super dynamic. I feel like I can do all my regular hi-hat rolls and articulation, and it's just much more natural to play. Now this third thing is more of a mix tip than anything, but it can really help because I think a lot of times the hi-hat samples can get really out of control, loud, and overpower a mix. And if you guys are going through a PA or trying to record it all, this can really help a lot. More or less how I like to dial in my volume levels of the hi-hat zones are you match the level of the bow with the bow of the ride. Those are going to be your articulation, timekeeping instruments, well, cymbals anyway. And just remember, when I'm saying volume level, I mean audibly. So don't let your eyes fool you and be like, well, my ride bow is at 80, so my hi-hat is at 80. That's what, Siren Drums said, you know. I mean, you know, listen to how loud your ride is and then match the bow. And the same thing with the edge. Listen to how loud your crashes are and then match the edge of the hi-hat to that volume level. So now the last thing is regarding the controller. If you guys are hearing that your hi-hat is opening a lot quicker than you're used to, like audibly, it's playing the open sound. You're not able to get the sloshy sound that you're used to on your acoustic hi-hats. The good news is this is completely adjustable and customizable to how you want your hi-hat pedal to respond, your controller. So in order to do that, we need to hook the module up to the computer and go into Editor. Alright, so once you have your module hooked up, now you want to open Editor, and make sure you don't do it the other way around because Editor will not open unless the module is connected. So make sure you connect it first and then open it. And once that's up, you want to go up to where it says Mode. We're going to go into Instrument Editor. On the left side, you'll see Preset Kits. Open that drop-down menu and then find the hi-hat sample that you want to be modding today. And it doesn't matter which zone you select. I usually just go with the edge because that's the one I test that sloshy sound on, but it doesn't matter. Basically what we're going to be doing is resaving a slightly tweaked version of the sample that's already there. Now you'll see these numbers next to semi-open and open and closed in the bottom left of the screen. That's what we're going to be changing. If you can imagine, as you're opening your controller, the module is reading semi-open and semi-open 2 as you're slightly more open. You know, it makes sense, right? So these numbers are what you dial in to correspond to the module. So if you want the sloshy sound to last longer, you want to change this number of semi-open 1, the left one, to a lower number, maybe 15 lower. And then, of course, change the one on the right of semi-open 2 to correspond to the next number there, so it goes in succession. And then what I would do is just save that. It's going to save to your SD card. You can name it whatever, but might as well just name it the same thing, right? And then bring that sample, your newly saved sample, up in your module, assign it to both the bow and the edge, and just start playing it and slowly open the controller just to see like how it's responding. You know, if you change it 10 or 15 numbers on semi-open 1, you might not have noticed anything. Or it might just be perfect, you know. It's an experimental thing, but, you know, it's kind of fun, and at the end of the day, you're going to end up with a perfectly performing controller. And if you have this issue with any of the other hi-hats, you'll be familiar with these numbers. You'll know the numbers that work, that you like the best, and you can just apply them to the other hi-hats. So definitely don't be intimidated by the Strike Editor. Especially the hi-hat stuff. I know there's not a lot of stuff out there, but hopefully this video can help you guys out a lot. You're not stuck with how the hi-hats are in stock form. You know, there's a lot you can do, as you can see. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you very soon.